What's going on, guys? It is actually Tuesday, February 7th. You'll probably be listening to this on Wednesday, February 8th. You are watching, possibly listening to the Trinity Force podcast, episode 15. As you can see, we are live on Twitch TV right now. And all around, we got a round table here. Unfortunately, Auslander could not join us this week, but I am going to do our normal rundown of who's talking. My name is Ponophobia. You can see my name here. I can't really touch because I don't know where my camera's at. SK Pone on Twitter. Upper left-hand corner, maybe right. I don't know how the hell XSplit's broadcasting this. We're going to see Tom, Optimus Tom. How you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good. Thanks for having me on, man. Pretty excited to be part of the first live one.
That's right. You know, we pulled him in here because he's got a little. He helped me set up XSplit and everything, and unfortunately, Auslander couldn't join us. So, we pulled Tom. And to the right, we have Hornet AJC. What's going on, buddy? Hornet, I think you're still muted.
Oh,
there we go.
Dagger.
Going strong.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. And, of course, Ranhert. How you doing, dude?
Cheers, guys. What's going on?
So, as you can see, we're kind of, working through this, seeing what we can do. If you hear any extra noises or whatnot, it's because it's our first time really live broadcasting. So we're going to keep running this down like we normally do with the podcast. People are going to hear this tomorrow. But I thought I'd kind of just talk, say, hey, yes, you're hearing the recording after the fact that we're live. Hopefully next week there won't be that disconnect like this. So, I kind of want to thank again NoFlow for that new intro that you guys heard when we started out this podcast. He, our interim intro here that really sets us apart, hopefully, from other people. And if anybody else has an intro or any kind of music you want to hear on this podcast, please send it to feedback@trinityforcepodcast.com. So, guys, I know we're all drinking tonight, and I have the Bud Platt, a little extra metal. So I kind of want to run. What's everyone drinking? Hey, Tom?
I just got the regular Bud Light because my Guinness is too warm to drink still.
Anybody else?
Drink it anyways, man.
Maybe I will.
Guys, I'll give you a plug just because I'm drinking your water. Sorry.
This was bourbon
Straight
for a little bit.
You didn't.
Yes, there's a glass of straight bourbon with some ice in it.
You
didn't even make it through the intro.
I was going to say you didn't uncork your 50-year?
No, I didn't. No. I was this close, but
we were trying
not
to get
special enough. Sorry.
Yeah, right.
No.
I'd like you to call up your buddy and say, "Yeah, I did it because we're doing T-Force Live."
Yeah, it's gonna wind up going to my grave. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna this bottle of 50-year. Like no one's gonna know what the hell to do with it.
Maybe your next kid or something.
I hope you give it to me because at least I'd open it.
Yeah. Well, you just come and take it. It'll probably be free to grab.
He'll be clenching it in his hands or something as he's dying. So.
Yeah, well, don't want to bury it with you, but can't let good alcohol go to waste there.
I'm sure you guys have seen us on iTunes too. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to us. We love it when you guys listen to our podcast and listen to us bullshit about everything. So, we're going to kind of walk in here into our first real discussion topic this week. And a buddy of mine named Cody left a voicemail who's going to lead us good into discussion. So I'm going to play that right now. I'm not muting anyone else's mic, so don't talk out there, guys. Here we go.
Hi, Trinity Force Podcast. It's your favorite person, Cody. Just calling again to say how much I love you guys and love to listen to you every week. And I have a question for you this week. Ziggs, the new character, what do you think about him? Is he all he's cracked up to be? Is he overpowered? Is he underpowered? Does he need a rework? Who knows? Let's find out.
So for those of you who don't listening, he wants to know what is about Ziggs. So who out here has bought Ziggs?
Of course I bought Ziggs.
Guilty as charged. Yeah.
At Hornet, of course not.
He's not on sale yet. It ain't happening yet.
Thrifting those champs.
Hey, that's all right. There was a time where it didn't even matter if they were on sale. It was like, Hornet's not gonna buy them.
Yeah, now at least I'll wait for a sale and I'll at least buy it.
That's right. That's great. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I mean, look. Let me say this though. From what I've seen of Ziggs and what I've seen him played, he's pretty nasty in the right hands. He can just, it's all about the well placement of the satchel and the mini bombs and the mini mushrooms. They look like mini mushrooms when they're out there, but needless to say, his placement and that bomb for his ultimate is really, really nasty when he has some AP built up, because it's impressive, the graphic of just blowing everybody apart. But in the right hands, I don't think he's as OP as we all initially thought going in. I've seen him be countered pretty hard, but I can say that he is a well-placed champ in my opinion so far.
Yeah, I think he takes a lot of skill to play. Because I mean, when I played him, you can easily overshoot your Q and have it go right over the champ's head, and you really want to land it like right on him, unless you're trying to hit creeps also and wipe out like the last wave, like the caster wave. You can take them out with your Q. But other than that, I mean, he's pretty interesting. I think the only change that really should probably happen to him is I think his E is on too quick a cooldown. It just seems to be always up. It's not that long. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but
it's a 12-second cooldown, I believe, before any kind of CDR.
Maybe I'll eat my words, but yeah.
It's
well,
still,
I mean,
you get some CDR going, it's about 10
yeah,
seconds.
CDR. It seems to come up so fast, and it's a very powerful spell. It can do a ton of damage, and it can zone easily, and it can cut off paths and lanes, and it's really sick. And it can even save you from because it has the slow property, so it can save you from ganks. That plus your W. He's just got a lot of utility, and I really think we're going to find, more so than Fizz. Like Fizz, when he first came out, a lot of people were playing him, and then he just kind of got a little bit of a nerf and just kind of fell off, and we're not really seeing him played too much. I don't know that we're going to see that with Ziggs. I think Ziggs is going to be around here for a little bit, and we're probably going to see some really good hands pick him up and become really good with him if he's not perma-banned.
Oh, absolutely. Tom, have you picked him up and played him?
Oh, I definitely picked him up and played him. I picked him up in order to do a champion spotlight on the guy, and as soon as I picked him up, the one thing that came to mind with him was he can basically control a lane by himself. His satchel, not only with the knockback and the damage and everything, you don't want to stand on that because it's just going to disposition you in a lane. If between that and his minefield, being able to position someone into the minefield will slow them down, and then the Q with its ridiculous ratio right now, I think that's mainly the one thing people are complaining about is the fact that his Q extremely easy to hit because it bounces just in case you miss and someone can walk into it or someone else can be in the way and it bounces and hits that champion instead, still doing AoE damage. Pretty insane. But just the fact that he can basically control a lane himself is what I think people are mainly calling as like the overpowered issue on him. He basically just early game, like if you just level 3 get one of each of his skills, you can basically shut out your opponent of CS just by zoning them with skills and then just using his passive, which is also pretty insane, dealing that extra bonus damage every 12 seconds. Just keep racking up the kills and really keep the opponent behind in creep score. And I think that's really what people are complaining about.
He does a very good job of keeping, like you said, keeping people out. I've seen some people play him. You can, it stops from getting engaged in team fights because you can block off a whole entrance in the jungle, for example. Like if you were over by the purple team's blue buff, you can stop them from walking in from one side, and everyone else, force everyone to walk in through your little gauntlet per se, of champions that they have to get to. Because of just alone with your E only having almost a 10-second cooldown, it stops everybody. Not to mention the extra slow and the burst potential of Q to E to R is insane. You hit all three of those, it's pretty much a dead champ at any point.
Yeah, certainly, because if you use it in close proximity of yourself, that the R that is the ultimate, it's so much faster. It's pretty almost instant. Whereas if you try and launch it across the screen, it's very slow and it's really hard to hit unless you got like a Galio ulting up in top lane or something stupid like that. But that's one of the other things. Like his combo ability is very, very good. It's kind of reminiscent of Victor. Like Victor's combos, if you can land all of them, are really, really powerful. But I think Ziggs is even easier. He's a really, really good champ. And you add on to that the ability that he has the farm plus his range to stay pretty safe. Plus, I don't think we've really mentioned it, but his passive is really good too. It's just on a timer cooldown. He gets a little extra damage. It's really, really nice. I'll even give a shout out to Holy Spork out there. We played against his team last night in what was formerly known as Optimus Tom's battle.
Wait, hold on. Wait,
I'm gonna take it back.
No, there's about a 30-second delay here. I'm switching over to GG Coliseum. Anyone who's watching the live cast right now can see the awesome graphic recording. Tom, keep it rolling.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun, and we just borrowed it for a night to help Tom out. But check it out if you don't watch it. Optimus Tom's Battle Arena. You get to see many of us in action, some of us casting it. It's a lot of fun. But we played against Holy Spork's team last night, and unfortunately, Holy Spork and his mid forgot to switch their champion. So Holy Spork wound up going 80 Ziggs because he still had his AD rune set up, and then there was an AP Tristana in my lane. And 80 Ziggs actually wasn't as bad. I mean, kind of fell off a little bit, but just with the passive alone, it actually made him kind of a viable AD champ. He has a slow, he's got a little bit of a jump with the satchel or ability to get away. He's got some poke with the Q. I mean, everything's really, really good. It's just, you build an AD and trying to utilize the auto attacks and the passive. So it kind of worked. I mean, we just had to focus him down instead of the Tristana, but
running an AD Ziggs, I would have liked to see him probably do more to like a Lich Bane, because unfortunately that passive does fall off if you don't get any kind of ability power going with it. Yes, it adds damage every few seconds because of you spamming the abilities, but it's not going to do that much damage if you don't have that ability power behind it. So you need to build him with like a Lich Bane or something else that like a Malady perhaps, something that's going to give both. Tom, were you going to say something about? I know you wanted to say something about your battle arena for a second there.
Oh, no. I wasn't actually going to say anything with the battle arena. I just think, expanding on the fact of AD Ziggs, yes, you do need the extra ability power in order to deal damage with his passive. It does have a decent ratio. I don't exactly know the numbers per se, but it's more than you would think it is. It's definitely better than Orianna's passive, which does the stacking damage and eventually gets there with a little bit of extra damage. But not only, I don't think we've mentioned the fact that his passive, it takes seconds off his cooldown for every spell he casts.
Right.
So that kind of procs a little bit easier. But I was actually talking to Holy Spark after the battle arena, saying like, well, with AD Ziggs, I probably would have liked you to do something a little more like a Sheen into like Trinity Force, maybe a Mana Mune, like an older school Ezreal kind of build. He's just like, yeah, I was kind of thinking about it, but then I just kind of went Infinity Edge because I had a lot of money. But no,
I mean, it's just crazy the fact that this seemingly pure AP caster champion we can even be having this conversation that he can be run AD. It just really speaks to the utility of his spells that also in turn do damage if you build him AP. So it's really wild. I mean, he's a really powerful champ. I recommend everyone get him unless you're really concerned about a upcoming nerf or something.
Pulling up something there I didn't mean to pull up. Hornet, have you played against him at all? I didn't want to leave you out of the discussion. It looked like you might have had a few
No,
things to
what
say.
I was going to say is that the one thing that it reminded me of is we've mentioned how much of a skill champ he is. It reminds me of Anivia in that you have skill shots you need to sort of get used to, or skill abilities that, when played right, make the champ absolutely amazingly powerful. I think this is going to be the same way. I think we're going to, we already mentioned this, that, once we find somebody who gets really, really good with him, I really believe he's going to be a nasty champ to deal with, that he will be banned in tournaments because somebody's going to figure out that, oh yes, this is somebody's main champ now and they're really good with him, we have to ban him, sort of like a Rise with Alex Ix or Froggen with Anivia, like those type of players. Like I think Ziggs is going to be associated with somebody. They're going to be like, okay, yeah, we got to ban him for him.
Did you see Reginald play him in the Go for LOL tournament against was it AL? I believe. I can't remember if it's
It was against Absolute Legends. I didn't see it. I didn't get to see the match. I was trying to find the video, but I didn't have time to watch it.
In the very beginning, he got a double kill at level 1 as Ziggs, and then it ended up being like 6-0 by 10 minutes or something stupid. And he was joking throughout it. He didn't mean to pick Ziggs. They were gonna do like one of those funny swap, but because the way TSM is talking and everything, he ended up getting it locked in. But he destroyed the middle because he got that double in the middle there. I'm sorry, that double kill. Pick up an extra Doran's ring and boots. You're rocking his Ziggs. So that extra AP landing your combos. We know how good Reginald is. It's gonna destroy. So. That's Ziggs. We kind of ran him down for this week. I kind of wanted to walk into next part. Earlier today, I put a shout out on Twitter. I said, hey guys, what do you want to hear about in this podcast? The inaugural T-Force Live. And the best tweet we had today had to have come from Obscura, who said, in all caps, with a ending rage at the end of it, why you shouldn't play ranked if last hitting is an alien concept to you. And I don't know what elo he's playing at, but that just tickled me because you got those 80 carries at the bottom and they're just auto attacking away, and you ask, do you know what last hitting is? Like, I don't know. So maybe you guys have a couple elo hell stories or something you want to share here before I move on.
Can I take the cake with this one really quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So for a long time, I played support champions. I mained Sona, I dabbled in Soraka, and I played a pretty main Janna. So one of my first ranked games this season, when it started, I was playing up. I got to about 1350 LO. Just like quick, 3 or 4 wins in a row. I was like, great, this is awesome. I was playing like Sona and Soraka, getting up there. Decided to try out my Janna. This is around, the time Graves comes out, and you knew how broken Graves was when he first got released, right?
Absolutely.
He was insane. So I'm with the Graves as my Janna. I'm like, this is perfect. This is going to be an easy win. We're against like a misfortune in the bottom lane, right? So what happens is Graves and I proceed to go bottom. He proceeds to just straight push the lane, not getting last hits with his Q, anything like that. So I'm like, Graves, are you going to last hit or whatever? And he's just like, oh man, I'm farming, don't worry. I check his last hits. Misfortune has about 50, and this is like 8 or so minutes into the game. I'm like, okay. Graves has 5. 5 last hits. I'm Janna, and I'm like throwing tornadoes, trying to like zone and do some damage. I have more last hits than Graves. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then obviously, like 15 minutes elapses, and like Misfortune comes back with like a BF sword and like Berserker's Greaves and a bunch of other stuff, and we start getting ganked from the jungler. They had like a Lee Sin or something like that. I'm like, Graves comes back to lane, and he has, like parts for his Berserker's Greaves and a couple of health potions. He's like, I don't get why she's so far ahead of me. I'm like,
I can just imagine how pissed off you get. Oh man, you heard me earlier screaming about the Graves bottom lane. I'm nearly like, I got a quarter more CS than he does. I've probably got 20, 25 more CS than this guy does, and I'm screaming about him like, no one jumps the banhammer! The banhammer's a farm machine!
It's true. I was there.
Banhammer's an ego machine, I'll tell you what.
That ego had about 100 more last hits than the other ego.
I don't care if I'm playing against another Graves, I'm gonna outlast hit you. I don't even care. You know what? I could be 0, 0, 7, and 0. I still have more last hits than you. Makes me better!
It does. It's true. True story.
It's true.
Last hits
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things you really, I mean, I know we've touched on it 100 times before, but, I guess we get a lot of good feedback on our like, noob-friendly talk, so, when we're talking about last hits, we're just talking about just that, getting that last hit on the minion. If you do that, you get the gold. So there's a balance there. At times you want to push the lane when you know that you've got vision of the river. I'm certainly talking about bottom lane at this point. So if you've got vision of the river or the places where the jungler could come and gank you or other lanes could come and gank you, then if you have vision of that, you can push the lane, and then when your creeps move into the tower, they're going to get hit by the tower, which is then going to cause the other opposing champions difficulty in trying to establish their last hits and get their gold. So that's really where some of the issues lies. That champs will push the lane and not have any vision, and then get ganked and wonder what the heck just happened. Whereas you really want to sit back, farm up. Make sure you're just sitting there letting all your minions do all the damage unless they've got significantly more minions than you do, and then just get the last hits in when you can. That's really key to this whole process. And if you can work on that strategy and work on your timing, that's going to really go far. The biggest thing, I know we talked about it a long time ago, but if you're picking up a new champion, all the champions have different attack damage ratios right off the bat. So go into a custom game and just try it out and see how much damage you're doing on an auto attack on minions, and so you can practice and know when the life bar gets to a certain amount, your last hit's going to actually finish off that minion and give you the gold that you need. So it's really, really important.
What I also like to talk about here, too, is runes for an AD carry bottom lane while you're practicing last hitting. A lot of times you don't need that armor pen. This is kind of where I wish I had Auslander, our resident math whiz, because we were going to try to run the numbers this week on, what could we run on someone like Caitlyn, a little extra
I can tell you all that.
Well,
I can tell you.
Oh, can you? I want to hear it, because we were talking this week. I run a straight AD build. I do AD armor magic resist for my AD carries.
Exactly. That is exactly what everybody is running right now. I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go for it. Go for it. Please tell me.
I actually did this for my In the Zone series. As I was doing, I did one for every role. and I took a look at what the top players were running on their AD runes. I looked at Chaox, however you want to say it, and every single rune page he played, didn't matter if it was Sivir, it didn't matter if it was Graves, it didn't matter if it was Misfortune even. His runes, I just have on mine, just pulling it up real quick, signed on League of Legends. Shut it off because I was trying to focus, but now I got to pull it up.
Of course.
Literally just attack damage reds, armor yellows, magic resistance blues, and flat attack damage quintessences.
Now, is he running? This is Chaos, correct?
This is Chaos, yes.
Okay. I have not looked, even though I'm playing the AD carry pretty much all the time. I haven't looked. Does Chaos run MR per level, or does he run flat?
He runs flat MR.
Okay.
I took a look at his Sivir build and Graves build in specifics, and I also took a look at his Vayne build, and Vayne's the only one, he doesn't do the runes any differently, but on Sivir and Graves, he also likes taking heal, and just not specking a mastery for heal, just make up for that, but on Vayne, he actually either runs Ignite or Exhaust, and just goes straight aggressive kind of build, so. The runes are not really too much different from carry to carry when you get to like that top tier. If you actually take like on solo mid, he had his like play this guide to get to 24, whatever ELO, blah 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 blah. He just runs straight that, runs heal, runs flash, and just says harass and deal damage. Go for it. You have all the protection you need from your runes, your support on the bottom. If they have a sustain spell, you're just all that much better.
And that, like I said earlier, the game I played right before this, we played a normal, so there's no bans. It was a blind pick, and I played Graves, but Graves had a Soraka, and giving him that extra sustain allowed him to start with the Dorans rather than Boots and 3 pots, because I had a Jaina. So you have to give and take that, but I'm sure everybody's running the same runes, unless he decides he wants to run Armor Pen. So I guess that really takes it down from there.
Ponophobia, you might want to move your mic a little closer. I'm just reading the chat right now. They really can't hear you.
I apologize, guys.
It's so loud as hell to me.
I know. I was going to say, I'm not sure why they can't hear me. It might be because of how it's coming through XSplit. But I've moved it closer, and hopefully it's not too loud for everybody. Thanks for being on top of that. We had one other tweet. I did not grab the author of this tweet. I should have when I put it in the document. But he asked, do you think there are any unplayable champs/champs that no one will ever use? Who are they and why? So, Hornet, got anything for that?
You mean the Evelyn that nobody ever plays except if they're guaranteed a troll? I mean, it's almost like in the tribunal if you see Evelyn, oh well, yep, he was trolling. I had to sit it.
Yeah.
I mean, besides, off the top of my head, it's probably because I don't own them, but the off the top of my head, just trying to think of somebody that I know I would never touch or never play. It used to be Sivir until the remake. I mean, once Sivir was remade, then it's like, oh well, maybe we'll think about playing her again.
And now she's pretty much like one of the number one go-to AD carries. Besides
exactly.
It seems Misfortune used to be that way as well. Don't play her, and now Chaos has revived playing her in the bottom lane. Don't even talk about it, Tom. I know you want to talk about it. I see it in his eyes.
All you need is Ionic Spark on that character. It's insane.
Just watch Battle Arena number 3. You'll see that it does not only need Ionic Spark.
Well, it only needs Ionic Spark and an Annie that doesn't die 10 times in the middle. Put that aside. Actually, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, one other one that I thought I would never play, and I probably still will never play, but I was so shocked to see in a tournament, was Dr. Mundo.
Oh, right.
I'm sorry,
true.
but I never expected to see him again until they either remade him or did something, and then all of a sudden, Diamond from Moscow 5 brings him out, and I'm like, really? No. Really?
Yeah, really.
And then you watch it, and they fail horribly in that game. They got crushed. I think it was the second game against. I'm not sure who it was.
It was M5 versus CLG EU. That was the game.
Was the Kings of Europe? I couldn't remember where they actually played.
It was the Kings of Europe. It wasn't the finals, I don't believe. Or no, it was the finals. It was the first game of the finals.
It was against CLG EU.
You are correct.
I think it was the first game of the finals, though. Second game was very, very good.
That's the one. That's the one you did the in the zone on, right?
Definitely.
Yes, the second game was great. That's kind of funny. And then, another one that Karma. I've seen the only person I've ever seen actually use Karma and actually do something decent with her is Froggen, who for fun actually plays her in mid.
Yeah, but Froggen is just a hell of a player.
Well, he's just amazing as it is. He doesn't spellcast anything. He just it's sheer ability that he pulls out. And he's just freaking amazing at it.
Spellcasting's for chumps.
Yeah, well.
What's that? Ranhert's over here making gestures.
I mean,
and
come
shit.
on, Froggen, me, you guys got me here. Jesus Christ!
I think I'm gonna drop
just
you now
kidding.
from the call and go get
He's ridiculous.
Froggen.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I'd like to see your Anivia if you actually hit one ice ball.
Or
on
put a
an
wall
opponent,
that didn't screw up your
or a
teammates.
wall that actually made a difference,
Oh my
or
God.
did with our team, then maybe.
I think I played Anivia once in an Arab. That was it. And I was like, why the hell does anyone play this champ? Why would I ever play this champion ever?
So blue
Oh,
dependent.
God.
That's not Ranhert. I can't. Well, dude, she'd be perfect for you. You could dive because you have that guardian angel as a passive.
Perfect.
Oh, I don't need the tower beating down on my egg.
Oh.
That's not going to help me get out of there alive.
Next thing you know, another disinteresting champ that I don't think we've ever seen in ranked. Well, you see it ranked every once in a while, but if Ranhert ever pulls us out, I might just defriend him altogether as Heimerdinger. I'm sorry, but
I bought him. I played him.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
You're playing Heimerdinger?
Well, why not?
Oh my
Play
god.
anything.
Why?
Right.
You know what? Next we're gonna talk about Poppy.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Was the next
No,
one.
we are not. I'm disconnecting from the call if we talk about
Let's
Poppy.
go, dude. Poppy, you just give her a little bit of Philo Stone, maybe a little Heart of Gold, right into that sheen. She is blowing people up.
Amazing.
She is a noob stomper.
Yes,
She
ask
really
Ranhert.
is.
You build all armor and go top lane. Who wants some?
She's a
That's
terrible
all you do.
champion that's never been created.
No, that
never.
is a Ranhert champion. Ranhert was in the Riot Studios as they created it. Let's give him a pat. Let's give him an alt where she cannot take any damage from anybody but one source. That is
Oh
a
my
perfect
God.
tower diver.
You'd be surprised how quickly that ult runs out too. It's
You'd be
funny.
surprised how quickly that champion sucks.
Oh,
way,
that's,
also wanna-
she's one of my only pentas I've had. One of my, I had a good penta on Poppy long ago. I don't know. It's funny. Like we talk about like all these champs, and we're talking. I mean, Evelyn, she was really good a long time ago. I mean, permabanned all the time, and then got just nerfed to hell and just never come back. Heimerdinger, he's just kind of been in the void for a while. Mundo was really popular a long time ago, and I guess he's maybe coming back. I don't really see it happening. It's interesting because really a lot of these champions that we're talking about that aren't very viable are the same champions that you can pub stomp with because nobody plays them. Nobody plays them on stream. Nobody plays them in the game, so nobody knows how to play against them. So, I mean, Heimerdinger is a great example of that. His missiles do so much freaking damage. I think they have a 1 or a 1.1 AP ratio. I'm just taking that off the top of my head. They do sick damage. All you have to do is get the opposing creeps down to 2 creeps, and then you use your missiles and you'll hit the other champion because 2 missiles will hit one and the other one will hit the other. So he's just a really good champion. It's just the pros aren't going to play him because he doesn't have a whole lot of utility in a team fight and late game. And so, but you can pub stomp with him big time. You can deny a lot of farm. You can push like crazy. You can stun. You can do all sorts of things. And he's a good champ. I mean, it's just, what are we talking about here? Are we talking about what kind of things are we going to see pros use, or what kinds of things are we going to see permabanned, or what kinds of things can we actually see work in games? I was watching, I was reading on Reddit today, and there was actually funny, we were talking about Poppy, but there was a thread where a guy made a Smurf that has done nothing but play Poppy with that Smurf. He actually dodges ranked games if Poppy is banned.
Huh.
And I think he's gotten up to 1900 ELO with just playing Poppy on the Smurf, solely. So, I mean, it's very possible, and it's very doable with some of these champs. You can get good enough to make them your champ and be a force. They're still in the game for a reason, though Evelyn's kind of arguable. But, we'll see. I know they're
about how good a champ can be and how you can really play him. That's just Ranhert wanting to play Mordekaiser all the time after M5 took him out. And he's just like, this guy is so viable, I just want to play him.
Uh-huh.
Oh, come on. Give me a little more credit than that.
You don't
Come
deserve
on,
any
it's
credit.
best. It's best. Number 1. Where?
I mean, I was playing Mordekaiser for a long time, but I used to play him top, and I did play him mid for a while, and then he got nerfed, and I kind of stopped playing him, but I didn't think he was non-viable anymore. But then just the fact that, like, Alex played him from M5, actually just it didn't like make me believe that I could play him. It was just like, okay, now I can actually pull him out in a ranked game, and nobody's gonna really troll me or say like, what the hell are you doing? You're not going mid, and pick like a Vigar or something, you know. So now it has a little bit of credibility. I can back with it.
Well, not only that, we gotta give credit to Riot here because you look through the champs. There's not too many that you don't see played in some form or fashion, even at higher levels. Like there are tiers. Don't get me wrong. There are tiers of champions that are high tier, low tier, whatever. But you can still play a champ in any given particular time. You know, Eve is again maybe on the opposite list of that. But you get the point though, is that you can play any one of these champs at different points if the situation calls for it. There are some champs you can play no matter what, but it's really a credit to Riot. Their balancing has been really, really good with this many champs.
Absolutely, you got to give it to them. You know, another champ that I'd like to see. He's not overpowered or underpowered by any means, but people don't play Nasus a lot because he's just so boring to play. Because you spend 20, 25 minutes up top just farming his Q. But he's another champ. If I was to play Tom full time, I think I'd play Nasus. Just because you don't really see him all that often. I know Ranhert just played him the other night. Wasn't he just an annoying champ to play against?
Well, I mean, it was one of those things. I mean, I was playing Galio, so it wasn't that Nasus himself was annoying. It was just that, and it was weird because I went mid and they had a Rise, so I thought maybe Galio versus Rise would be good, and we sent Cassiopeia top, and then they wound up just sending Rise top and putting Nasus in the mid versus me. So Nasus isn't going to do any. I mean, sorry, Galio's not going to do any damage against a Nasus, and Nasus doesn't do any damage against Galio. So it was basically my farm versus his farm, whereas his farm is Q farm, which is just building him into late game. So it wasn't very good. I mean, I wasn't really dying to Nasus, but I couldn't stop Nasus from farming. And then our jungler went, DC. So it was over before it started, really.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, we spent a lot of time here talking about these champions. I thought I'd want to move to our next discussion topic, and we'll probably move back to some more of these tweets in a second, which I'm going to swap over here to my browser window, if I can remember where the hell to go for all this. We had talked about IEM Hanover, which is coming up soon, and you probably will see that you will see it on ggc.leaguecraft.com. We have two groups, and all the groups are full up of people right now with their total rank. So, I'm not so keen on the pro scene. I think, Hornet, you're much more on this. Do you mind taking the lead for this point?
Yeah, that's fine. The groups were announced, and wow is all I can say as far as the grouping goes, because it's going to be very interesting to see how it runs. Now, the groups aren't finalized yet because not everybody's committed to actually attending. But when they do, and all the top teams are going to be there, it's really interesting to see how some teams who were really good at the beginning of this season have now really fallen off. And so the rankings that you see listed for the groups as they're put together really doesn't match how you could potentially see this going down when the tournament actually happens. And two prime examples of this are number 2, which is SK Gaming, who against any top team currently, and top teams I mean CLG, I mean Team Solo Mid, I mean Moscow 5, they've really struggled. Now they made it pretty far in the some Gulf of Lulz recently, but other than that, they barely squeaked to the finals of Kiev against two teams that not a lot of us even heard of. White Lotus was kind of unknown, and honestly, they'll probably remain unknown. And I forget the other team that they beat, but it wasn't. They're organized enough, but at the same time, I'm curious to see what changes they're going to pull out, because I know they're trying out different junglers, because Sleazy Wizzy got dominated, to be honest with you, in Kiev. And the other example is Fnatic, who haven't even been able to qualify for the last couple tournaments, for the last couple live LAN events, and then all of a sudden, they are invited to Kings of Europe and get stomped. I mean, they were destroyed. There's no two ways about it. So, these rankings that you see, I'm not buying into them at all. But because I think a team like in Group A, the grouping is CLG, the North American group. CLG EU cannot attend because they won't qualify due to their complications. Fnatic, World Elite from China, Team Dignitas, Millennium, and Invictus Gaming. And let me just say right now that World Elite and Invictus Gaming from China, they're going to give the rest of these teams hell, and I wouldn't be surprised if Fnatic doesn't even get out of their group. Whereas you look at Group B, it's Solomid, SK Gaming, Moscow 5, Cypher, Curse, and eHome. And now I like Solomid in the live events. I always have. I think they always do well in live events as it is, but I'm not confident that SK Gaming is going to get out of that group either. And that's two prime teams from Europe who have kind of fallen off the map. And, Moscow 5 is as hot as any team out there. I think they could do, really well in this group. They've already beaten Team Solomid, and they've proven they can. People are saying they like to adjust their strategies, but I'm going to tell you what, it's going to be really interesting to watch the qualifyings of both Group A and Group B for this final showdown for the season with a $100,000 prize purse, which, by the way, how great is it that this game is producing a $100,000 prize purse as a finale
for the odd
awesome.
one.
Odd one to die. Yeah, even for Dyrus, even if he isn't there. I mean, it's pretty impressive. I got to say, it's going to be a great tournament to watch. The last two tournaments have been fantastic. IEM Kiev was the best produced tournament to watch online. And so I can't wait to see this, because if they keep improving on what they did, this is going to be amazing to watch.
Right.
Yeah, I think we gotta pay a lot of attention to Team Solomid's move to start playing mostly on the European West servers. I think that's really big for them. They're already playing well as it is, but recognizing that the talent on the North American servers isn't quite what it should be, and making that adjustment to go level up champs over on, or level up summoners over on the European West servers and play against that type of competition really means a lot. It means they recognize where their main competition is and who they're going to have to beat in order to, make it somewhere. And also it brings them into the Go for Law category of being able to participate in those tournaments. So it was a pretty big move, and I think we're going to probably see that pay off. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they played Moscow 5 and Kiev very close. Even though some of the games started to move away a little bit, they played them really, really close. And if they're going to be getting this practice between then and now, or then and Hanover in the European West servers, I think it's going to really improve their game.
Mm-hmm. I have to agree, actually. I'm just pointing out something that Holy Spork's mentioning in chat. The thing is, with the European server, it's a little more team-centric. As you've seen in live streaming and everything, Team Solomid, Dignitas streams, you see CLG stream. They just solo queue all day, every day, and that's what they do. The European servers, they get all 5 people together. It's a little bit easier, too, because normally they're relatively in the same area, whereas, obviously Solomid has moved into a team house with CLG. They're scattered throughout the country, stuff like that. Dignitas as well. They have school and other commitments. European servers, pretty much, okay, we sign up this time. We queue as a 5-man team for X amount of hours, and that's what we do. We play as a 5-man. And that's pretty much pre-established. Same thing with the Chinese and Korean teams. They do the same exact thing. They'll jump in as their 5-man, queue all day, and that's what they do. They just constantly are working on their communication and working on their teamwork. And I think that's really what Solomid is actually benefiting from the most on the European server. I don't know if you guys watched the Go for LOL tournament.
That's why they've really gone over the European server, because they realized that if you go back to, I think it was it T-Force 11 or 12 when we interviewed Atlanta, he had talked about more people need to do the arranged teams. This game is not a solo queue game, so why have solo queue ELO really? Because you need to play together. You need to learn how to talk to your teammates. Someone needs to be a leader, and someone needs to really take the initiative to get that done. And I think that's the big move here for TSM. Moving over the European servers, they're going to be playing as more of a team.
Yeah,
I just wanted to mention this real quick. I started a Smurf on EUS. This was probably a couple weeks ago. My ping from Pennsylvania is 125 to the EUS server. It's 110 to the Los Angeles server. So let me tell you, for them from New York or Long Island, they probably have the same ping to both servers. I mean, it's what it comes down to. So it really isn't a bad move for them to be able to go over there as well. It's actually a fantastic move when you consider that the ping isn't any different for them for playing.
Not at all. And it's definitely making them work together a lot more. If you notice in the recent Go for Law tournament, they literally just moved all their computers into the same table, and they were just playing like it was a tournament. They had them set up all next to each other. They had a camera so you guys could see like them communicating with each other, and the communication was just superb. I mean, we saw at like Kiev and some other tournaments, they had communication issues. They obviously, like Rain Man playing champions, he wasn't exactly the best with Aurelia, but it just basically translated into a better environment. Or Timo, but
more Timo.
Hey, I got a tension with that because I actually believe if he had played Timo and he had actually laid mushrooms in his own jungle, that would have alerted all of the counter jungling that they were worried about or that they were mentioning, because I think that, it's like little wards. A little explosion tells you exactly where they are.
Yeah,
I think
it
that would
gives
have
vision for a very, even if it's a small amount of time, second or two,
it's enough.
It's enough. That's right. It's a mini ward.
Yep.
So
yeah, I think not to harp on the same point too much, but I know one of our biggest beefs with the way Team Solomid was approaching Kiev after the tournament in Connecticut was really that they were like the trash man thing, and whoever's got the lowest ELO's got to take out the trash, and like all this stupid stuff. Now, they're all young guys. They're having fun. They're living together. They're living the dream, and it's a great old time. But they're a pro team as well, and I think they probably realized that a lot in Kiev. They kind of buckled down the last couple of weeks leading up to Kiev, but they were still doing this trash man stuff, and I haven't even heard of it since. Have you guys even heard of it?
No,
they're over there grinding away.
He got a phone number from some waitress at IHOP while we were in the trap.
But that was before. That was even before Kiev, wasn't it? That all went down.
I think that was before Kiev when that actually happened, but
I think them going to Kiev and being beat like they were made them realize they really need to start playing more as a team rather than doing this whole solo queue crap.
Yeah, they had the same beef about CLG a while ago too. It was when Team Solomid was coming up into prominence. It was CLG North America now and Team Solomid, and the big thing was, okay, well CLG is, they're out there doing solo queue all the time. They're not really playing together except for in tournaments. And, Team Solomid's out there practicing. And then they win a tournament and they place well in some other tournaments. And then next thing you know, they're all focused on the, doing the solo queue and getting their rankings up there and having internal competition. Now, one thing's led to be said. I'm sure they're probably making more money off of their streaming and being entertaining and those kinds of things for all the fans out there than they probably are of any of these tournaments.
Absolutely.
But Kiev was what, $5,000 or something like that? What am I? 10,000? I forget what
per person.
It was 12,000 to win.
Okay.
12,000 to win. So
like $8,000 for second or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're talking about flying 5 guys over to Kiev and lodging. You're probably taking at least half of that 12,000, and that's only if you win.
And you're probably, more than likely, most of these teams aren't even paying for their lodging and the flying. I don't know, but I'm assuming when you have that big of sponsors and you're playing that big thing, you have Razer and Intel and everybody else. More than likely, I'm assuming going to be fronting that money for you. So this is pretty much all pocket money at this point. $12,000 split between 5 guys.
It's
I'm
not
sure.
as much as you would think either, though. That's the thing. Like, just to reiterate, it was basically teams that placed 3rd or 4th place, basically they were saying at Kiev they made their money back. That was it.
Right.
Because once you take that money, if you're counting for individual travel expenses, if you're keeping it as a team, you can try to see it as a net gain, especially with Solo Mid with the gaming house. But a lot of these guys, they don't have that gaming house. They don't share lodging. So what happens is when you get that money, you split it amongst 5 guys. Everyone pretty much makes their money back, and that's about it. Maybe pays for food on the way out too.
Sure.
But that's pretty much it.
Well, but let's say this though, is that as far as Team Solomid and CLG, their websites I believe actually pay for more of what they're doing than just them out of pocket expenses as far as plane tickets and lodging and the other sorts of things. So I think that makes a big difference. Team Solo Mid is their own sponsor at this point, unlike a community like a SK Gaming, which is, they are a branded team that's been around for a long time that actually, pays for their lodging and such for them and their flights and everything else to go around the world. So, it's different the way it works each time, but it's I think CLG and TSM are their own sponsors of themselves, essentially, with their websites.
For being 20-something years old, each of those guys are doing very well. They don't even have a manager to take care of them, and to be able to make it over to Korea and whatnot on this kind of budget, and keep enough money to be able to do it. Give those guys some credit. I don't know if I was 20 years old making $12,000 in a tournament if I'd be able to save enough of that money to find my ass over in Korea 6 months later.
Notice the beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, where that money would go.
Yeah, well, yeah, notice I'm drinking, not to mention all the Red Bull and stuff. So, we're kind of getting down here on a little bit of time, and, this has been great discussion. I wanted to continue what Hornet had brought up last week with the, let's give some guys, every week Riot comes out with free champions to play, and we wanted to kind of run down, what you can do for these free champions, how to play them and whatnot. So, this week I'm going to run down all the names. We have a Mumu, Annie, Blitzcrank, Nasus, Teemo, Sona, Swain, Maokai, Wukong, and Graves. Those are all the free champions you can play this week. So if you weren't going to put any money in this game, you have these champions to play. Starting with a Mumu, I see Hornet type in here in the document. If you don't mind, start us off.
Go for it. Mumu is a great jungle/tank. He's not really known for his damage. He has AP ratios, but they're not really that great. Just realize that when you play a Mumu, you need to start at blue. You're going to need a little help. And know that your ultimate is so key to how fights will go. Your Q can also make a difference, which is your bandage toss as far as ganking in lanes. But just realize that when you build a Mumu, you should be a tank, and you should be controlling the action and initiating the action, and that's how you play him.
I see Tom over here laughing at you. Tom, what's going on in chat over there, buddy?
I'm just noting that in the actual the little document we have set up, you could basically put all these champions as a support character.
So that's for you, right? So if I let Tom run down this, he would say, "Well, you pick up your your E first on a Mumu to grab and stun, and then."
Well, no, it's actually 100% true. You see, a Mumu with your Q, you'd be able to I've seriously seen some bottom lane of Mumus. I'm not even kidding.
That's true.
Not a straight supporter Mumu let's get a sustainy spell, etc., etc. It's similar to a bottom lane Nunu. You get the heal, you get the exhaust, and when the opportunity presents itself, you bandage toss in, you max your E actually, because Tantrum's going to reduce the damage you take from auto attacks. In a standard competition on the bottom, you have an AD carry and a support champion. The AD carry is going to be dealing less damage if they choose to focus the Amumu that's in their face. Because of Tantrum too. When the opportunity presents itself, you kind of bandage toss in. They have to burn a flash because it is a stun still, as opposed to just bringing you over to them. On the second time around, flash has a ridiculously long cooldown, a lot shorter than your bandage toss. If you're able to actually get in there with an open opportunity, a quick bandage toss in there, throw down the exhaust, Tantrum for damage, and then if you have a range carry with you, or even one of those kill lanes that we pretty much all love here, you just apply the pressure early. And it could result in some quick first blood. And then the best part is that a Mumu has some sort of roaming potential.
So,
which is
Tom,
challenge
good. Accepted. After this game is done, I'm going to be streaming. I was going to say, I want you to play a Mumu bottom lane. I'm going to play Jarvan. We're going to do it. A kill lane, a Mumu Jarvan bottom lane.
I'm down.
All right, good.
Let me just say, you always want to max E. E is his best spell by far. You always want to max it. Right. It's ultimate first. It's R, E, W, then Q.
So, Ranhert, do you know a little bit about Annie?
Do I?
I want you to take it, buddy.
Wow! All you gotta do is play a bot game and you'll...
Oh my god. That's so wrong.
So one time, I dressed up as a bear.
Too old!
And, sorry. It was a furry convention, to be honest with you, and it was awkward. Huh?
Ranhert, you have a daughter?
Well, yeah. I mean,
This is really
Yeah,
creepy.
this is really odd fast. So getting away from Addy, just last hit
Okay.
with your Q, and that's it. So moving on to.
I'm glad I could do that for you guys. Invite me back.
have you seen my bear tibbers?
I don't want to see her.
I don't want to see your
Oh
bear
my
tippers,
God.
sorry. No desire.
All right, so Annie, we got a lot of stuff going on with Annie. Annie's a good champ. Her range isn't that great, but if you last hit with her Q spell, which is just her spammable nuke, if you hit the last hit, so if you kill anything with her Q, it returns the mana cost of Q. So she's got great sustain as long as you know your Q damage and you're able to Q the creeps with that Q. Then you can go a couple Doran's Rings if you're looking for a kill, or you can go Rod of Ages if you're just going to farm and need the extra health and sustain. So you should always keep that in mind whenever playing a standard squishy AP mid. A couple Doran's is going to be a little cheaper than a Rod of Ages, but it's not going to be very useful later on. You're going to want it if you're going to want to take down the enemy champ quick. Otherwise, Rod of Ages for the sustain and the health. So that's really it for Annie. The other thing you want to know about her is that every 5th spell stuns. So you've got a lot of tricks that you can do there, and that includes Tibbers. So when you use your ult, which is a bear that drops from the sky, kind of like Godzilla, he does splash damage, and if you have your stun up when you do that, it's going to stun maybe one or more champions and do AoE damage, and you can also follow up with her Q and her W. There's some other tricks there. So when her stun is up, you'll have a little swirly doodad around your champion, and other champions will know, oh shit, she's got her stun up. Let's stay the fuck away.
Sorry, guys, you're talking about this. So Tom is making me laugh.
Sorry, I do this.
I love you, Tom.
You had to interject with Tom making you laugh. I quit.
I was gonna say, I knew someone was gonna do the fucking heart at some point or something stupid. Jesus Christ! You get a guy on camera, he can't help it. He's either gonna moon or make a heart.
You want me to do duck face too?
Please no.
So some things you can do is that you can actually save 4 spells so that you now have to cast a 5th, and then the next one will stun. So if you have 4 spells, then you can actually use her shield, which is her E. You can use that, and then you'll have your stun. So you can use the E very quick, drop Tibbers, then Q, then W, and it's just a whole bunch of damage, and no one's going to get out alive. So she's a fun champ. She's really easy. She's cheap as far as IP is concerned. So if you're just getting into the game, definitely try out Annie. She's not the best in lane, but she's very fun, very easy to get kills, snowballs well, and very rewarding to learn the game on, to be honest. She's probably one of the best AP champs to learn the game on.
Yeah.
Very quick.
Yes.
Very quick note on Annie too. If you guys are, that ranked person that can't last hit, play Annie in the middle. It's really good to practice your last hitting. The Q deals a ridiculous amount of damage, refunding the mana cost. You just sit there and last hit all day, and really good for practicing your farming.
Good choice. The next one here we got on the list is Blitzcrank, who is generally played as a support. Some people you'll see him in the jungle, but we're just going to
He's
give
not in the jungle.
No,
he's not in the
some
jungle.
people you will see him play him in the jungle. We saw it
You
earlier.
haven't seen Snoopy play him in the jungle then. He is damn good with him.
That's
That's
right.
how he made his name, is with Blitzcrank. So you can't say he's not in the jungle because he's damn good with him.
You know, I know why
All right,
Tom is
Snoopy
saying
can
not
play
doing
him,
the
that's
jungle is because we had, I don't remember who we had fucking play him in the jungle.
You had
last year.
Mookie 12 from Optimus Tom's Battle Arena
There you
playing
go.
a jungle Blitzcrank who refused to give the solo mid Vigar blue buff.
Yeah, well, you're not Ranhert, so you don't deserve it.
I guess not.
No, he's over here as Blitzcrank running through the jungle. Is like, all right, guys, I'm gonna gank. You ready for this gank? Stands at the bush.
He'd stand in the bush, and then he'd run into lane, activate his E, and the person would run away, and he'd be like, all right, I'm done, and walk away.
Yeah, no ganks. You got 4 people chasing Blitzcrank. I'm gonna pull one into me. What?
Yeah. Oh, shoot, we have to run away from this fight. Let's take Shyvana with us. That was the other thing that we had a little beef about.
Oh, nice. That's the way to go.
So,
But,
for people who might not know how to play Blitzcrank, his Q is his rocket arm grab. If you
Robot arm.
If you land it right, that's right, just as Tom did. If you land it right, it will grab them and pull them back into you. You will follow it up with an E, which is a pop-up. It's an instant attack, and then your W increases your attack speed.
And movement speed.
And movement speed, correct. The big thing that you really need to learn here on Blitzcrank, first time Blitzcrank, build a Tear of the Goddess for that extra mana because his passive gives him a shield when he goes below 20% life of what is it, 50% of his max mana, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It gives him an extra shield so he can walk away and pop his W and run away. Now, the big thing you want to really learn how to do with Blitzcrank is pop your W, speed boost, run up to somebody, hit them with your E, so that gives that half a second stun. And as soon as they're running away, just as Tom just did, pull them back with your Q, because at that point they should be dead. That's just a difference than trying to stand in the bush.
I
and
whiffed
use that
mine.
100, yeah, well, you always whiff everything if you're not walking under a tower. So. That's Blitzcrank.
I bet you don't whiff now that you're not playing at 12 FPS.
Yeah, I probably would. That's it.
Probably
Main
would actually
Blitzcrank.
hit it now.
Oh, I was actually pretty good at Blitzcrank. I'd be all right. Actually, one of the big important things to remember with Blitzcrank is if you're gonna play him, you're gonna need a skin with him. You just gotta have a skin with Blitzcrank. It can be the Hot Rod Blitzcrank. It can be the definitely not Blitzcrank.
They
Any of
don't
those.
have a Blitzcrank skin if you have.
Let me tell you which one is
You
the
don't
one
play
you have to
Blitzcrank.
have.
Right.
You have to have the boxing gloves.
That's the one I have. Yeah, baby.
That's the one you got to have, because the boxing gloves, I swear to God, make his grab like that much bigger. Seriously,
Whoa.
like his boxing glove. Seriously, it looks like it grabs somebody from like a wider area than you would think it would. It probably doesn't, but I'm just saying it looks like it.
That's
You got to
awesome.
be careful though. If
Anybody
you pick
got Nasus
Blitzcrank,
there? We're gonna keep trying to run down, and we got quite a number.
okay. I'll take over on Nasus a little bit. I'm gonna serious take over on
I think I
Nasus.
kinda
I'll talk about
actually-
the Wither
did I lose
support on
everybody
the
here?
bottom.
Unfortunately, I think I did.
Uh-oh. Did he lose?
Oh,
everyone?
way to go, Pone.
Nah, we're back.
Sorry.
Sorry about
Sorry, we back?
Sorry about
We
that. We're back.
Good?
We're back. We weren't actually gone. I screwed up, but we're good. I'm continuing recording. Someone please run down Nasus for me.
Alright, well, Nasus is one of those champions that really benefits from being able to farm. In a rank setting, if you pick Nasus in between champions 1 and 3, he's going to get counterpicked. So don't really want to try him out in rank queues. Just be like, solo top Nasus. You're going to get counterpicked extremely, extremely easily. Nasus is literally another one of those champions that if you need to practice your farming, that's what you're going to want to do. Your Q basically adds not only an reset your auto attack animation, which is fantastic because you can attack, hit Q, and it resets the animation for you to attack again. But the more things you last hit with your Q, you're going to be stacking damage. This is going to allow Nasus to scale pretty darn good into the late game because all you have to do then is build GP10 items like Philosopher's Stone, Heart of Gold, go for a strictly kind of tank kind of build, even maybe picking up a Frozen Heart to reduce cooldowns, give you armor, make you more sustainable in a team fight, and all you have to do literally is just land a Q, knock out a range carry. Land a W, which is a Wither, to slow them down. It's going to be ridiculous because I believe at level 5 it slows by like 60-something%, maybe a little more.
Yeah,
it's just, it's pretty insane. You could use it to chase down people in lane. You could use it to gank to its full potential, but he's just pretty insane. His E lays on an AoE damaging spell, which is pretty cool for the laning
and
phase.
it removes armor at that point too. So if you
Oh, it does.
if you can catch them in the W, pop your E down, which does remove armor to allow for extra damage on the Q.
And then his ultimate just makes him even tankier. He gets an AoE damaging spell, he gets extra HP, and then he just becomes basically an unstoppable killing force once your Q gets like plus 600 damage. The cool thing is, too, your Q will scale bigger than a 1-to-1 ratio. At like level 5, I think, every single time you last it, it adds like 3 or something or more damage per last hit. So you scaled to like 300 extra attack damage on a Q pretty quickly. So that's Nasus in a nutshell.
Yeah, I was going to say, the greatest one is if you catch a Singe top, and Nasus is a perfect counter for Singe, because that'll just let him farm, and you let him split push too. Just let him split push all day, even if the fights are going on elsewhere. If you let him keep split pushing, it'll pay off in the end.
That's
But
one thing to do. You really want to probably run teleport on Nasus, just because you could split push with Nasus, push an entire creep wave down, and then like in the middle of like a dragon fight or a gank somewhere else, Nasus pops in, lays down a Wither, hits a Q once, and that fight is completely turned.
Good point. That's a very good point. I want to move on to somebody who's near and dear to Ranhert's heart. Is little Timo, little Rain Man.
Reporting for duty!
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Ranhert has played Timo a lot. Either rank 3s or rank 5s, doesn't matter. He's played him a lot, so I'll let you take over this one.
Yeah, so Timo is pretty standard. I build him for attack damage. You can build him attack damage or AP. AP is kind of a troll build. You're going to get the most out of your mushrooms with AP, but I'm going to really talk about his AD build, which is pretty easy. You're going to build attack speed, runes if you're at that point, and then you're going to take E at first level and max E first, followed by W, which is his move speed, followed by Q, with 1 point in Q, which is a blind. It's a targetable blind spell that does a little bit of damage. You're going to take that either at level 2 or level 4, depending upon who you're laning against. So if you're laning against a very, like a Riven or a Gangplank, or somebody's going to try and harass you top lane an awful lot with attack damage and auto attacks, you're going to want to take the Q at level 2. Otherwise, you'll take the speed boost at level 2 and then the Q at level 4. But his E does poison damage. It just adds poison damage to your auto attacks. It's a no-brainer. So it lets you last hit a little bit better. It also, it gives you a little bit of a leeway with the last hit, because if you screw up your last hit and you hit the creep, then the poison might take him down and get you the gold actually after all. And you can also harass a ton with it. So I really like to max E, then max W so I can move away. So I like to get in there, auto attack, get poison damage, and then I'll W away if they're going to jump on me and try and do extra damage. Meanwhile, my creeps are going to beat down on them a little bit. So Teemo's great. Once you hit level 6, you're going to put down some mushrooms to help you out. You can push. I build Wriggle's Lantern on them every single time. Then Madrid's Blood Razors is really good on them. So, for Teemo, if you're looking to get into the late game with them, you're going to want to be taking down the tanks with them. So you're going to want the Madrid's Blood Razor, maybe the Frozen Mallet, those types of things. And I usually go 9-21-0. Get a little bit in the attack damage for the 9 in the offensive masteries, and then go tanky in the defensive masteries.
And then you drop lots of little mushrooms all around the map. So,
and that's all you got to know about Teemo.
And that's really all you got to know about Teemo. I mean, I had to cut you off there, buddy. Sona, I'm not really, she's a preferred support for tournaments. Easy to play, hard to master is one of the notes we have here. Tom, it looks like
One of the cool things about Sona is, for a person who's not really into the whole tournament metagame, Sona's really cool because you could play her in a lane with someone else. She has a heal, which is going to sustain whoever's in the lane with her, but her power chord, her passive, every 3 spells is going to deal bonus damage equal to like 3 times her level, plus a certain amount of damage, stacking damage, making her a little bit more viable. If you built her like as a standard ability power champion, for people who are still in that lower tier, these are free champions this week. So if you're still around that level 5, level 10 area, you can actually build attack damage items on her, Trinity Force, things like that. It just gets you. I'm not saying
that you're just controlling. We're gonna move on to Swain, who's not gonna be
I'm
played
not saying this is not tournament style, Bill, but this is the easy to play, hard to master aspect.
This is called we are trying to help new players actually get better at the game, not troll them.
Okay. Well, the thing is, Sona's skills are the thing that make her very easy to play. It doesn't matter what you build on her. Her heal and her ultimate synergizes so well to make her sustain a team no matter what. In a higher tournament play, going for those gold per 10 items, getting your wards down pat, the fact that her skills are just as good as they are right away means you don't need extra ability power, you don't need extra sustain, and you definitely don't need the extra damage. Once you get like a Shirelia's or even a Rocket of the Iron Solari, one of the new items that just recently came in to buff your team, a little extra damage absorption in team fights, maybe even getting a Randuin if the game goes on that long. Just supporting your team with the fact that your skills do so much, and her poke in early levels of that bottom lane composition as a support champion, pretty much unrivaled. Just getting 1 level of Q, like at level 1, can just put your potential to push back your opponent's lane, and then level 2 and 3, you just go back, fall back on that heal, and then you just sustain. You already have a pretty good advantage in the lane. So very hard to master, though, because you do have to know what skills to level up and when. Do you want to be aggressive with your lane? Do you want to play a little more passively? Are you going to be warding actively, using that E, that move speed boost, to actually move around the map just a little bit quicker to beat out your opponent's pink wards, beat out ward placement, and just be at the right place, right time?
Yeah, support takes a lot of, people say that support's not hard to play, but if you start really looking at them, they are kind of hard to play. But we've only got a few more champions left. I just want to really quick run down them. Ranhert, please give me a Swain. I'm not sure how much you've played him, but I'm going to give it to you.
I've actually never played Swain,
So
but I've played against a lot of Swains. No, let's not. Swain is a very bursty champion who's got a stun. He's very tough to lane against. He's a good counter. He can play very tanky. He's kind of like Cassiopeia, like squishy in the beginning, but you can build him up tanky, and he'll still do a lot of damage. So he's a very scary champ to go up against. Not sure his ult will give you health back. So he's a good champ to try out. Maybe it's a good champ to invest in. I just have other champs that I've just never bothered using them.
I'll say this because I've played Swain. One thing that Swain is he is the melee killer because his ground ability that keeps you in place actually really
move.
And prevents any of the melees from really getting close to him, so he really controls that well. But he's also very mana dependent. So if you can get the blue buff, get it, because Swain is very mana dependent because his ultimate really just can drain the mana from you real quick, even though as good as it just drains it really fast. Real quickly, I want to move to Malachi because I've been playing him a lot. He's actually my favorite champ to play currently. I just want to say that Malachi is a great jungler, can also play support, and can also play mid. He actually does have AP values and AP ratios, and I've seen it actually in high-level games. But his most common place is in the jungle. His sapling is a very good poke. It's also a very good ward. And it's very good to start in the jungle with and go clear race before you go start blue buff. You can do it basically all by yourself by stacking them before they pop, and then they'll all pop at the same time, do all the damage, and you have it clear. But know that he is best as a jungler tank, and he is best doing that in a tank role that his ultimate prevents AoE damage. So knowing that his AoE is what it is, and it's that circular area, it is great for you to be the lead in a fight, to be the tank, not to do damage, but to control as much as you can going on, and maybe keep them off your carries so that your carries can sit there while you're out there taking the damage. That's the idea you want to go with Malachi.
Sorry, so I had the dog started to bark here. I didn't want to interrupt anybody talking with a dog screaming in the background. Real quick, Wukong, not a support, definitely played top lane. Can jungle, not the greatest because he relies on red buff to slow anybody, but if you're playing Wukong top lane, max your E because it's your distance closer plus extra damage and increases your attack speed, your attack speed after you've popped the E. And then Q is an instant attack and it does reset your attack timer, so build both of those top lane, kind of do like the Gangplank top lane build, Philo Stone, Heart of Gold.
Q also lowers their armor when you attack, so it increases your kill potential as in conjunction with dealing extra damage. So running with an E, increasing your attack speed, proccing that Q to lower their armor. You're going to attack a lot faster, deal more damage because of the armor reduction, and then that's pretty much it. You have to be careful, though, because Wukong does have some pretty nasty counters in the top lane, especially Riven, who's able to really close the distance on him, really taking away the effectiveness of his E.
That's really, Riven does that to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So, moving, the very last person here is Graves, and I just want to run down him really quickly because we're, moving here as fast
he
as
deals damage. End of story.
Graves deals damage. Go on bottom lane, play him like any other AD carry. Just know that he has to have a little closer range than anybody else. You initiate with your E, which increases your attack speed for a number of seconds till you use it. Dive at someone with your E, automatically hit Q and then do that damage. Try to get Q literally point blank range because you get 3 bullets that come out, and they come out in a cone pattern. You need to get all 3 of those bullets to hit before they make it to the cone. That does the most damage. So E to Q, then auto attack away as you have that extra attack speed from your E. Your smoke screen is great from just stopping somebody from really pushing the lane, dropping it in a bush if they decide to walk over in there, because if they walk into the smoke screen, they can't see anything. And of course his R just adds more burst damage. It's not so much about the splash effect that it has. When you shoot his R, it comes out in a straight line and then splashes straight out into another cone. It's more about that initial damage from it. So he's a very bursty champion. That's right, Ranhert.
He's also extremely durable in lane. Just the fact that his passive, that True Grit, as you attack more, increases his armor, increases magic resist.
Right.
We usually have like a running joke. It's kind of like Graves has the highest damage, HP, magic resist, armor, move speed, attack, does everything in the game. But it's just the fact that, obviously when he was released, we mentioned earlier, he was very, very, very overpowered. They nerfed him a little bit, and now he's a little more on par with the rest of the champions, but still, there's certain range carries in the bottom who play against Graves and really need to combat him by getting something along the lines of a Wriggles Lantern. I had a very lengthy discussion with someone the other day about how I would love to go Wriggles Lantern on Vayne against Graves just because the sustain, he farms a lot better than champions such as Vayne and even like Tristana do. Just the fact that coupled with the fact that he is a little bit more resilient to opposing range carries just makes him a really solid choice to try. And if you haven't played range AD in the bottom, you should really pick up Graves now that he's free. Start playing him, and you'll get a really good feel for like how powerful a range carry can be in a team competition. Right. Also, you can kind of learn very easily what you need to do in the bottom lane in order to take on other range carry champions. So He's got a decent skill cap on him, don't get me wrong, but for a new player to pick up Graves as a range carry, since he is a little bit stronger in direct comparison to other carries, just through his base statistics, he's a little bit easier to kind of ease into that role.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And that pretty much runs it down. I know we keep trying to do these a little longer. We're trying to shorten them each week. So if you guys have any suggestions of anything you would like to hear from the T-Force podcast, Ranhert, you were telling me before the show you had something to say here at the end. So I'm going to let you take the stage now, buddy.
Oh, I had something to say?
Yeah, you did.
Well, I just wanted to, I wanted to thank Tom for joining us here tonight, and I wanted to give Tom a chance to plug his shows. He does really good work, and he's a partner, obviously, with GG Chronicle and us. So, obviously you saw a little bit of what he brings.
Them rosy cheeks, man.
Yeah, buddy.
I don't know. GGG splashes up now. GGC Coliseum. Screw the battle.
GG Coliseum!
But why don't you run us through your shows? Get a little plug in.
All right. Well, first off, thanks for having me, guys. Protophobia and asked me to come on the show. I was like, hell yeah, I'd absolutely love to do this. So it was a lot of fun. I mean, hopefully sometime soon I get to do it again with you guys. It's been awesome. But yes, I am part of GG Chronicle. I do a lot of different things. Obviously, you heard mentioned Optimus Tom's Battle Arena. Not the first time you probably heard it on the T-Force podcast, but every Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we take 5 vs. 5 in-houses. I cast them. Sometimes people like Pronophobia come in and cast with me. I've had my pal Chaz Wang, Druidic Dwarf, if you've seen him in there as well.
I called next, by the way. I want to cast next.
Oh, my God.
Ranhert's going to cast next week.
I'm casting on Thursday.
On Thursday, are you?
Oh, yeah, I'll let you finish.
Okay, but we'll get into that, because I don't know about that. Now I'm a little upset that I wasn't asked to join that, too.
Oh, Jesus
but
Christ.
Anyway, it's just a lot of fun, 5 vs. 5 in-houses. We do 3 matches a night, usually runs, 3 or 4 hours. You can always tune in. It's a lot of fun even just to be in chat and watch what's going on in the game. A lot of people, friends, people I've dragged in from ranked queues, people I've met on teams, and occasionally we get some interesting people. I had DM Brandon, the Smash Brothers Pro, actually playing with us one week. It was a lot of fun. He was really bad as Tryndamere, but aside from that, it's Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I also do a show called In the Zone, which I record live at Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Optimus_Tom. I drew a little underscore thing very well. But it's uploaded to GG Chronicle as well, ggc.leaguecraft.com, every Thursday afternoonish, so you guys can tune in for that. It's like a Learn to League of Legends kind of thing. I'm trying to start doing it similar to like a Day 9 Daily for League of Legends. You guys are making fun of my New Jersey Italian roots and talking with my hands, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. All kinds of Jersey. Go.
I mean, that just happens. But
these guys are like spelling it out. Optimus.
Every now and then I just go into like these things. I get replays from people. Occasionally they ask me to go over specific guides. We go over pro guides as well as pro builds. And then it's just basically really good for people who are really just getting into the game, in addition to people who are just starting up ranked queues or maybe having a little trouble with those specific champions. So that goes live Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, uploaded to GGC shortly after that on Thursday, so tune into that. You can follow me on Twitter and spam me with smiley faces like some of you guys are in chat right now. It's at Optimus Tom.
We love the chat. Little hearts. I can't really do it. I'm not like, I really
Oh
my God, Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Thank all the plugs everyone watch. Hornet, I want you to, you said we got the Beyond the Rift guys here in the chat, I'm sure. So take it away.
Yeah, I do want to make a plug real quick for Beyond the Rift, who is on after us. They're a live show. They usually have great guests and do a community discussion a lot of times about League of Legends and what's going on in the pro scene as well as just League of Legends in general. So I want to give a shout out to Demon Machine. They are on at 10 p.m. Eastern shortly after we are done, probably a half hour from now. So I wanted to plug you guys. They do a great job. They've helped us. They do a great show on their own. So if you get a chance, check them out.
Where can you find them?
It is over at perfectrain.net, www.perfectrain.net is where you can find them. I also know that they have a own TV channel is where they broadcast from, so feel free to check them out.
So
yeah, and it's one of those things. It's like, you know, we're all not really working. I mean, this is hardly working, but we're all, you know, doing stuff with different groups. But you know, those guys over at Beyond the Rift have really, you know, made it so that, you know, they've put forth effort so that it's one community more so than some others have, and really have like involved this idea that it doesn't really matter what you do, who you do it for, and why you do it, as long as it benefits the overall community and that others know that this kind of stuff is going on. So, you know, we're plugging them, they plug us, and also check out the Reddit post that has a whole list of all the shows and podcasts and YouTube channels and things that are solely based on League of Legends that Demon Machine has put together. It's you know, there's a lot out there, and they've gone through the effort to kind of bring it all together and make it one.
Yeah, it's great. You know, there's lots of community projects here. You know, if you see T-Force podcast, you know, go watch everybody else. I don't care if you know, watch Monte Cristo on YouTube, watch us here at T-Force, watch Perfect Rain and Beyond the Rift over at own.tv/user/Perfect Rain is where you're going to find them. I'm sure you can do /Perfect Rain to get them.
Watch Optimus Tom.
And of course you're going to, and watch, I don't really care about Optimus.
Hey, and if you're into Magic the Gathering, he's got Magic the Gathering shows too. So.
Ooh, I do a lot of Magic the Gathering content as well. Wednesdays after my In the Zone show and every Friday.
No, you're not allowed to pimp this. So. No Magic the Gathering on a Legion of Legends podcast, sir.
That's okay.
Shut
Come
up,
on.
You like that deck, didn't you? Tolarian Academy, 4 of them, bitch. 4! My deck is so illegal.
Oh. Tom, you better be careful. You're getting such those rosy cheeks, you're going to look like Annie soon, and Chris might come over.
I like your little Italian jersey swagger.
Oh!
Oh my God.
Hey, now.
This gets out of hand. Someone please take us out so we can just end all this.
All right, so if you want to reach us by phone or text, it is area code 21203-49-FORCE. That's area code 203-493-6723. As we said, you can also text that number as well as call and leave a message with any feedback. You can also reach us by email at feedback@TrinityForcePodcast.com, or you can reach us at Twitter at TForcePodcast or GG Chronicle, or we have individual handles. We have Chris, who's Ranhert. We have Adam, who's Ponophobia. We have Tom, who is Optimus Tom, and myself, who is Hornet AJC.
So there we go. Catch us next week, guys. That was great. We will see you next week. I don't know if we're going to be live next week per se, as we might have a little more technical issues to work out, but catch us at least either next week or the week after that. We will be here for you guys, but you will see the Trinity Force podcast at least posted. So thanks for sticking around. Thanks for watching us, and we will see you guys very shortly.
Bye. GG!
GG!
Hey, we're still going live right now. We're still live, but I have stopped the podcast. So
we had technical issues.
There's some. Actually. So guys, I'm stopping this right.